In this video, I'm going to talk about features of the session view which enable nonlinear composition and also live performance. So you can see here I've got a pretty complex assortment of different tracks here. The vertical slices here are tracks, and each track is going to take on a different voice, or I might just have plain old audio in here. But the characteristics, the effects that apply to each track are generally the same for the track and all clips within the track. Each clip is located within the cell here. All clips within that track will generally take on all of the effects that are being applied to that track. And we also have scenes, which is a collection of clips. So we can transition from the scenes here with these horizontal slices. So tracks vertical slice, scenes horizontal, and then the individual cell is a clip. So I'll start this. It turns out I just have one clip playing as a drum clip, and here I'm just doing a slow build to build up the instrumentation. Here we've got a chord change. You can see here I've got a wind effect. So I can change the relative volume if I want. So I can play one scene, but then I can change the clips that play within that scene. Or I could actually stop them. Another really great feature about Ableton is that whenever you want to launch a scene or a clip, it will always launch on the downbeat. And you can specify in this menu if you want the clip to wait 4 beats before it launches, which is 1 bar, or any other measure. You could also launch it immediately if you want. So maybe you're launching audio or something and you don't need it to be synced to the music. So in that case, you would choose none. But you can use this setting. So typically it would be 1 bar. So 1 bar is 4 beats. So if you look at your your timeline that you've got for each of the clips, you'll notice here that this is actually 1 bar, 37 to 38. And if you expand that, you can see that there's 4 quarter notes within that bar. So here's 4 quarter notes. What I want to do now is demonstrate how the the downbeats play out when you launch a clip or a scene. So in this case, I'm going to start the the song, and I'm going to activate the next scene. You'll notice that this little triangle will flash a little bit, and then it will launch. And when it flashes, it's telling you that it's waiting to launch on the next bar. So it's only going to launch every 4 quarter notes. And in that way, it's synchronized with the music and in time with the music. I want to look a little bit more closely at this downbeat launch to demonstrate it a bit further. So right now, when I play this clip, you can see that this current clip is spanning 4 bars. And because I have 1 bar selected here, if I want to launch this new scene, it will only launch on the next instance of a bar. So you notice that there was a little bit of a flash, and then as soon as it got to the next bar, it launched that new scene. To demonstrate this a little bit further, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an exaggerated situation. I'm going to change this to 4 bars. And what's going to happen now is it's going to actually wait a little bit longer to trigger that launch. So if I go to a new scene or a new clip, it's going to wait and it's going to launch that scene or clip on the next fourth bar. So we should see a longer wait time this time. So notice that it's waiting. And then on the fourth bar, it changes the scene. Up until now, I've been talking about MIDI, and if you double click the clip and click this notes tab, you're able to go in and edit these notes, delete them, lengthen them, change the velocities if you want. And you also have the ability to have your audio play alongside your MIDI. So when you double click on the cell for a MIDI or an audio clip, you'll see the WAV file instead of the actual MIDI notes. So here you'll see I've got this sample, and here's some wind. And again, this is audio. It's not MIDI, so we don't see those individual notes. One other important task that you'll definitely want to do is you're going to want to edit your notes, your MIDI notes, when you're working on sorting out your tracks and your scenes. So to do that, you double click on the cell that contains your MIDI notes within a MIDI track. And as long as the notes tab has been selected, you can go in there and edit them. So you could lengthen the notes, you could move the notes around a little bit. So I'm going to edit the notes a little bit for this clip. So I can't really hear the changes or this clip specifically. It's actually turned down pretty low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solo it, and that way I can focus just on this clip specifically. And if I want to add a note, I click this pencil here, and I'm going to get it on a downbeat and place it in there, and disable the pencil to edit this note. And I can hear it because I've got these headphones selected. So if you want to hear the note changes, and you probably do, you'd like to you want to have this headphone enabled. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to stop soloing and hear how it sounds with the rest of the scene. Another really important aspect of the session view is the ability to cut, copy, paste, and move tracks, scenes, and clips. So I'm going to demonstrate that a little bit. So here I've got some kind of a scheme where I've got my strings together, I've got some ambient noises together. Here I've got my bass, I've got some keys, and I've got my drums. And this one kind of is out of place here, and I'm going to move it over to my ambient noises here. So I'm left clicking and dragging, and I'm going to drop it in here so I can keep all these ambient noises together. Maybe that will help me stay organized just a little bit better. And maybe as well, here I'm playing C sharp major. I've labeled the chords that I'm focused on for each of the different scenes. And then I've got this change to F minor, and then maybe after that I feel like there's enough tension and I want to release it a bit and quiet things down a bit. I've got quite a few instruments playing after the build up to this point. So what I could do at this point is I could, undo that, Control Z, and duplicate that scene, and then I'll drag that down. And it's always satisfying to create a new scene to a song. And what I want to do now is create something a little different than the scene before to keep that sound evolving and to keep it making it dynamic. So here's what I originally had, and then here's what I have to follow up with a little bit of slowness to reduce the sound and give the listener a bit of a break. I think that could work. Maybe I want to change by adding a couple more clips or changing the volumes, but I think that that's a good transition. There's much more that can be done in the session view, of course, and we'll continue to look at it throughout the course. But I hope you can see why it's so valuable for composition and also for live performance because we have that ability to edit, move things around, duplicate and modify things, and launch things on that downbeat so that everything is always synchronized. Thank you for watching.